Hello, it's Karen the Weekend Craftaholic, and I am back with week 4 or block 4 of Blockhead 6. And this week we're doing Cat's Cradle by Keely Ferrons of Keely's Quilt Room, I believe. I'm telling you now, this is my favourite one out of all 4 so far. I love this one. But again, I would not have been able to do this without Sew Blessed by Jess. I'll tag her YouTube channel down below. I tried to follow Moda Blockheads. I also tried to follow these instructions. Without her help, I would not have been able to finish this block. Definitely not so quickly. I would have probably given up and moved on to the next one, which I think I might end up doing with blocks 5 or 7, I think it is. Some of them look really tricky. But anyway, I had all my fabric pre-cut. If you watched my video yesterday for block 3, you'll realise I decided to change my background fabric from the one with a directional print to this plain yellow one. So I've had to recut those out ready, but that's going to make my life so much easier, going back to basics with that. And the other thing that I decided to do after the block 3 is I am definitely going to use this friction pen to start marking seam lines, or like these, for example. It does actually tell you in the instructions to draw this diagonal line, and this is where Jess shows it really well with the placement of these. She also calls out that you only do this in this direction for 2 of them. The other 2 you'll see in a sec go in a different direction. If she hadn't have said that, I would not have picked that up from the instructions. It just, for me, it's just not visible. I'm definitely a visual learner. I definitely enjoy learning by watching others. So you can see here, this is what I was talking about, the way you place them, and you can see here I'm really struggled in my mind to figure out how that would work. I'd obviously drawn it in the wrong place on here, so then did the placement and drawn it. So I'm definitely going to start slowing down, starting to draw where those seam allowances should be, and where I'm supposed to sew on. The big game changer for me in this video is I realised I had a quilting foot. I've got one of those multi-sets that, like most people, probably never use half of the feet. I've always used my walking foot. I love that, but didn't realise I had a quilting one. And throughout this block, figuring out how to use that and know exactly where to sew the line, it has absolutely been a game changer. I'm getting my confidence up. This is week 4 and I feel so much better. That it's a pity it's a Sunday and I have to go to work next week, because I'm itching now to try the other blocks that I need to catch up on. You will have noticed as well, just loading 2 videos a week as I catch up. Once I caught up, obviously it'll be back to 1 video a week. So if you're a regular on my channel and you're wondering why it's just full of quilting videos, I will be getting back to posting other random crafting stuff once I've caught up with these, because we're up to week 8 now and I'm only just done week 4, so I've still got a little bit to catch up on. So you saw me cutting all of that. You see me now just looking at the next stage of these, and you can see here I love using GoodNotes because it's so easy to mark things up and make notes. I've got a shocking memory, so I tend to write everything down. This is really going to help me when I need to come back and make this quilting block at another stage. Now, this was another tricky part. I must admit the Moda video explained it well. I didn't have a Sharpie to use, so I again just used this friction pen, which wasn't the best because as I'm using it, it did kind of fade a little. You see, I end up changing the colour of it. I think I probably would have just used a little sticky dot or something next time. But you can see I'm trying to make this ruler, if you like, a smaller ruler for when I cut this, and oh geez, it is nerve-wracking slicing that first cut, wondering if you're doing it in the right place or not, especially as I'd got it so right so far, but here I am trying to figure out where to place it on the diagonal so that I was cutting it in the right place, because again, half of them are going in one direction, the other half is in another, so I ended up drawing that little outline on 2 different corners of this square ruler, just to make that a little bit easier for myself. The other thing that really threw me on this one as well is there seems to be a lot of wastage. Everything that I've done so far has been really close to the bone. I know they've said to use this scant 3/4 inch seam allowance, and I probably haven't. I'll be honest with that. But everything I've done so far, I've just not. It's just not been big enough. When it says them trim down to size, I haven't done enough of the actual piece to trim. So when I saw the amount of fabric that we're cutting away on this, I just thought it can't be right. I must be doing something wrong. So it was definitely a bit of a turning point for me having to trust that. And again, if it wasn't for Jess in a video, I probably would have hesitated a lot longer before I got where I needed to be. But I'm happy with these so far. I'm not 100% sure that they're going to be right in terms of the fact that I've had to cut off some points and whatnots, but I'm going with it. I'm trusting the process. And this pattern now we're actually going to do like the centerpiece, if you like. So this bit as well, definitely not used to doing these. What would you call them? They're not like, I think they're more like a square within a square. I don't know if there's a quilting term for them, but I definitely felt wrong cutting away fabric before I'd even sewn it. And I have to say, of all of the pieces I've put together so far in the last 4 weeks worth of blocks, this is probably the one that went as smoothly as any of them could. So I found this particular one, if you like, the easiest, doing it this way. So I'm definitely going to be looking out for quilting blocks that I've got this design again in the future. I definitely really enjoyed this one. It was fun to do, as well as it really helped, a big confidence booster, really helped my confidence doing this one. So I'm definitely going to be looking for that again. I think because it's kind of sewn on, then I didn't really need to worry too much about those little corner pieces not matching and so on. I should call out as well, a lot of these videos that I'm doing, parts of the videos I've put on fast forward. I'm obviously not creating it at this speed, but I also didn't want you to have to watch through me painstakingly, very slowly pondering and cutting away at some of this as well. And if you've not watched any of the videos, this is probably another good time to say that this is definitely not a tutorial. This is me just showing you my progress as I go, and just talking you through that as well. Now this particular piece should be finished at 6.5 by 6.5, and you can see I'm not too far off compared to how I have been. It is still a little smidgy off, but not too bad. And you can see now as I'm putting the other pieces in as well, just how that looks. So I'm very happy with myself at this point. I'm just a bit concerned about how it's going to work with the outside pieces because my inside is just a bit too small. That means my outsides are just a little bit too big, and I really don't know the best place to cut these. Is it best to cut them in the centre where I'm marking it now, or should I have just kept the centre where it is and then trimmed away a little bit at the edges? I guess this is what comes with knowledge and experience. Maybe some of you would have just redone the centre to get it perfect. I don't know, but I decided to draw these little lines and then cut away in the middle. On reflection, I probably should have done the edges, but it's fine. I'm happy with the outcome. This is my favourite block so far. I know it looks simple, but it's not simple. But I love this effect as well. I'm worried about these points. You can see I'm very close to the edge of these fabrics anyway. So I am wondering if I get to the point of trimming this down, whether those pieces will stay or not. So this is the back side of it. You can see it does look very wonky, but I am still very proud of it, and I am still going to go, and I'm really still excited with this Moda Blockheads program. So this is my finished quilt block. I hope you've enjoyed watching this series, and I really appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.